everyone thinks of Nightwing as an absolute riz god, he hasn't always been that way. Let's talk about his and Supergirl's date from hell. We see Batman asking Robin about how his big date went, and he's moping around not wanting to talk about it. When Bruce walks over to see what Dick is working on, he reminds him that one bad day isn't enough reason to change your entire identity. On the other hand, Supergirl was telling Clark about how bad this date went and how she thought at first that Robin just seemed so special. Kara tells Clark that she just couldn't believe a normal human was out here doing the things that he could do, so of course she was going to go ask him out. She then frantically tries on every outfit in her closet, making sure she has the perfect one to impress the boy wonder, only to arrive at the restaurant to realize that Dick is in complete costume. Kara's upset about this because it seems like Robin just wanted people to know that he was on a date with Supergirl, and he says, well, there's nothing wrong with giving the people a show. The rocky start to this date just gets worse and worse. Robin looks at the menu and realizes how fancy of a place that they're eating at, and Kara offers to pay her half, to which he says, oh, well, no, you know who I really am, money's not a problem. Didn't realize that made him sound like a giant dick, and Kara assures him that he's just talking about himself too much, that he could focus on somebody else, somebody who's sitting right across the table. Meanwhile, the kitchen staff is in an absolute panic because they have to make the perfect meal. You know, it's Robin and Supergirl sitting out there. Now, Robin keeps talking about himself despite Kara's advice and keeps going on about times he's fought villains single-handedly, and she says that he doesn't have to remind her that he's good at what he does. Kara's actually getting to talk about herself for a little bit. It seems like Robin's not paying attention because he's absolutely starving to death. So Dick starts talking about himself again, how he was a born showman and how Batman discovered him after his parents were killed. And Kara says, where is that food? And see Dick telling Bruce about this and saying that, you know, I told her my parents died and she acted like it was nothing. And Bruce pointed out the fact that's probably because her parents died too, along with her extended family, and every friend she ever had, and everybody she ever met, and 9 billion other strangers. Now, Kara's telling Clark that he didn't even really seem interested in her. He really should have went on a date with Amir because all he did was talk about himself. And Clark reminds her that he's human. He has fears and vulnerabilities that they could never even imagine, but as far as the costume goes, yeah, he does put on for the crowd a little too much. Now this horrible date gets interrupted when somebody's pet monkey causes a truck driver to crash, a bunch of bowling balls to go flying down through the middle of the streets. So the two heroes quickly team up to take care of this admittedly comical problem, and with the disaster averted, Dick even finds the monkey that caused all the problems, as it jumps on his face, causing the young hero to stumble backwards and knock him and Supergirl straight into a puddle of water. Now they're sopping wet, their food's cold, and Dick realizes that he didn't bring any cash, so he can't exactly use his credit card with his real name on it. I ask Clark if he's not going to stick up for Robin after telling him all of this, and he says, I don't care who you date, it's completely up to you. And then she says, you know, somebody ought to stick up for him. She says, yeah, she was angry at the time, but seeing Robin tie himself into knots for attention and approval just honestly made her feel sad and a little judgmental. Then a little angry and finally manipulative. Clark tells Kara how proud he is to hear her say that and how it was a very mature observation. Now Bruce is telling Dick that he needs to just take the loss and move on, and to Kara's point, he is a little flamboyant. To which Grayson replies that Bruce was the one who dressed him up in red and yellow in the first place. Dick, in an existential crisis, wonders if this relationship stuff works out for guys like them at all, and Batman tells him that Hawkman's married. Then tells Dick that he can't force chemistry. Some pairs click, some don't. You just take your losses and you move on. And Dick says, okay. But does Talia have a sister?